I saw your little R. But we're going to do some Halloween signs today. So we have a list of signs. I have a list of signs. And then what we'll do, because obviously there's not too many. I'll leave it up for you guys to ask any signs that you want to know for Halloween. And then, like I said, there's not that many. We can do a little bit more of some other stuff, and then we can kind of just stop. So this class may not be as long. We can just keep practicing too. So either way that works for you. Okay, so the first sign, sorry, my dog decided he was going to eat at the same time that we started. So I'm like, all right, sir. Anyways, the first time we're going to do is the sign for Halloween. So there's a few different ways you can do it. The one that is used often and is like probably more common, like the one that's on my shirt, is Halloween. Halloween. And I think I'm sorry, I'm having such a moment like seeing myself do it. Like my nails are so bright that it sticks out when I do it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like it's almost like the flashing lights of like when you pass by like cones on the road, they're just so bright. Anyways, I was thinking this is like peekaboo, and like Halloween is like boo kind of deal. So Halloween. Another one people will use is the H, and they'll do Halloween. So the same thing, but with the H. Halloween. The other one I've seen is Halloween. This one I've not seen often. It's like a circle and up. I recently saw this one. I tend to see this one more, but I wanted to let you guys at least see this one, just so if you ever saw someone say it, you're not like, I have no idea what they said. So more common is like Halloween or Halloween. Then we have Happy Halloween, because we got to have a way to say Happy Halloween. And what you do is you're going to do the sign for happy. So the sign for happy is happy. It's just kind of patting up your shoulders. Yeah, you like pat and then go up. Happy. And then you do Happy Halloween. So Happy Halloween. Yep. All right. Then we have pumpkin. So the sign for pumpkin is going to be your non-dominant is a fist. And then your dominant is going to flick the back of your hand. So it's like your middle and then flick. Yeah, pumpkin. And you go like on the back of your hand. So your hand is like flat and then you flick it. And you're not doing it too hard just to where you hurt yourself. It's just enough just to show the motion. Pumpkin. Yep, like that. All right, then we have candy, because everybody loves our candy. So the sign for candy is you're going to get your pointer finger, you're going to put it at the corner of your mouth, and then you're going to go candy. Candy. And this one also has, there's a couple of other signs that are words that also can be used with this one. I always say candy I always smile with candy for me, because candy is like, everyone loves candy. Candy's happy. Like, so candy. It also can be, we'll see when we get to foods, but it's like, it can be the sign for like sour and pickles around there too. So I always say dog is being very much like, oh, we've got to make ourselves aware, be aware, like be known. Anyways, so the way I always kind of make a difference between sour and candy is like candy's a smile and nice, kind of like happy, like this is good. Where with sour, it's like you almost like your lips are like, ooh, that was sour. So you could do sour candy or that kind of motion. Usually I'll do candy and I'll go like, you start with it and then come in with that, ooh, it's sour. All righty. Excuse me. Now we're going to move on to some monsters. All right. So the sign we're going to do the first sign we're going to do is the sign for vampire. So the sign for vampire is going to be it's going to be your V that you have bent, and then you go vampire. 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 Yep. And I love it because you just know exactly. It's for the two whenever like the vampire bites your neck. Then we have skeleton. So the sign for skeleton is going to be the sign for bone. So it's the same sign. And what you do is you have two X's, or not, they're really two, like V is bent in, and you go skeleton. So this is bone. A lot of times what I'll do for like skeleton, especially if I'm trying to be I was trying to do a whole subject of teaching kids. We're doing animals at school. And one of the things we were teaching about is how the animals, like the groups, oh, well, fish have skeletons, but they're not made from bone. They're made something else. And so I kept doing this and I was like, well, they have skeletons, but it's not bones. And the kids were like, you told me what? That doesn't make sense. So I had to kind of think of something just to kind of describe more. So what I tend to do for skeleton is I do bone, and then I do with two A's, and I make a shape, kind of swiggle. Yeah. So skeleton or bone. All right. Then we have witch. So witch is going to be, you're going to have two X's, and you're going to have one on your nose, and then you bring it down to the other one. Witch. 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 Then we have werewolf. So the sign for werewolf is the sign for wolf and then man. So the sign for wolf, and I'm going to go sideways just so you can see it, because it does kind of go sideways, is you're going to go wolf. Wolf. Like the snout. And you do want to make sure you go out, because if you come down, that's sleep. So unless you're saying you're the Sandman, the sleep man, then go for it. But if you're trying to say wolf man, it's wolf man. So like we do for dad, we do forehead and then our chest. So wolf man. All right, then our next one is Frankenstein. So Frankenstein, there's like so many different ways they do it. There's like two I go back and forth on. One is Frankenstein. It's like G's, yeah, Frankenstein, or Frankenstein with a pointer finger, Frankenstein. Then we have ghost. So the sign for ghost is going to be, you're going to have your middle fingers and your thumbs, and you're going to start them together, and then you pull them up. Ghost. 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 Ooh. This is also the sign for spirit, because pretty much they are the same thing. I always have to think for a minute, because I'm just waiting for my dog is playing. He just decided now it's time to play, but I heard him. I was like, what is that noise? If you can hear it and it gets to be distracting, let me know, and I can tell him, like, let's go into a room and do it. But okay, good. Sometimes he's really loud and it's hard for me to tell. All right. The next one we have is spider. So the sign for spider is going to be two hands on top of each other, and then you wiggle your fingers. Spider. Spider. Good. Spider. Then we have bat. So the sign for bat is two X's, and you're going to have them across, and you're going to tap on your shoulders. Bat. Then we have, I knew it. When he started, I was like, oh no. The next one we have is mummy. So hoping they won't keep going. If they do, I'll have to mute myself and I'll get them, but hopefully not. The sign for mummy is mummy. Mummy. This is also a sign for rest. So my mind always, I'm like, am I telling my kids? And I think it just because it depends on, a lot of times if it's almost like during Halloween, if you're like, well, I'm gonna be dressed like a mummy, no one's gonna think I'm not dressing as resting. And then throughout the year, you're like, well, I need rest. It makes sense. So context, very good and helpful. All right. Our next one is the sign for monster itself. So the sign for monster is monster. 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 Just basically what we always do when we're like, arr! So monster. Monster. Then we have zombie. So zombie can be very much the same as monster. The slight difference is I'll see your zombie as they do arms up and down. Zombie. That's one of my favorite things about doing Halloween signs is they are so visual. They are very much what it's like, well, makes sense. Oh, the vampire, the witch with the long nose, and I love that. I love it. All right. Our next one is the sign for costume. So if you're talking about Halloween costumes, it's going to be the same as the sign for clothes, which I think we talked about last week when we did stores. And so it's clothes. But what you would do is you go Halloween costumes. And if you ever were, when in doubt, if you're ever trying to think of something and you're worried you're not going to be understood, finger spelling is always a safe bet just to kind of help, especially when you're learning it. It's really beneficial. So don't feel like you can't have a conversation just because you can't remember the sign. That's always like I try to encourage, because even I don't know signs for certain things, and I'll be having a conversation with some people and I'm like, and I just finger spell a word and I continue on, and they don't act any different. It's not like they're like, you didn't know that word? No, we just keep going, because it's so natural to have finger spelling involved in ASL, just in general, because some words don't have signs. So, all right. The next one I have is, excuse me, is the sign for black cat. So we are going to learn animals. I'm trying to think of when we'll learn them, either next week or the week after. I'll have to check. I always kind of change those up. So, but for black cat, what you do is you're going to do the sign for black, which is black. Point your finger straight across your forehead. Black. So you do black and then cat. And you want to keep the other three fingers up, because I always think of the whiskers, So I was just thinking, if I'm leaving it, it looks like whiskers. Cat. Black cat. All right, where's the other one? Okay, haunted house. So the sign for haunted house that I tend to use more is the sign, it's basically saying scary and then house. So the sign for scary or scared or scare is you start with two fists sideways and then you go almost like jazz hands. Yeah, it's almost like that, like you're like, whoa, gotta protect yourself. Scary. So you'll do scary house. Now, a lot of times when you have young ones that do it, it's really fun, because my kids will be like scared and they just shake their hands like, no. And it's like, oh my goodness, you guys, because they could just do scary house, scared. They're like, and they just keep going with it. They're so dramatic and I love them for it. Then we have, I think it's our last one, and it's the sign for party. Sorry, give me a second. My voice is going. So if you were to have a Halloween party. So for a Halloween party, you do the sign for Halloween. And then the sign for party is going to be I guess it could be V's. I always tend to end up doing P's, but it doesn't make a difference. And you go back and forth. And it's like, if you think about it, it's like people dancing. I'm swinging back and forth dancing. So party. All righty, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any more other new ones. I don't think so. Broom. Oh, that's a good one. So the sign for broom is also the sign for sweep. And so it's broom. So it's that motion of just this sweeping. So if you're talking about witches You would do a witch is broom. Witch is broom. Trying to think of some others. A cauldron, you would do the motion for pot, like a pot. And that actually is not really, it's more a description, I would say, than really an actual just sign. And what it is you just do pot. So you make the shape of it. Pot. So you could do a witch's cauldron. Yep, witch's cauldron. And if you wanted to be really fun with it, just because it's fun, as I would do like bubbles going. So I'd be like witch's cauldron and then bubbles. Yeah. The thing I love with ASL is you can get really visual with it, like acting out, and it's really cool and fun. So, okay. What we'll do now is we'll go back through the ones that I have listed. And when we finish that, I will let you guys ask any signs that you guys can think of that are related to Halloween. And then when we finish those, I'll kind of open it up and let you ask any questions you have in general. So let's go all the way back to our first one, which was the sign for Halloween. So we have Halloween. Good. Halloween. You were ready. She was ready to go. She did it faster than anybody. I didn't even get a chance to do it. So, but good. So Halloween. Then we have Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Then we have pumpkin. Pumpkin. Then we have candy. Candy. Then we have, I've been losing some of my places. We have, where was it? I think we went to the monsters at this point. Okay. So then we had our vampire. Vampire. The 2X. Think about how it gets bit. Yeah. Vampire. Then we had our werewolf. So wolf man. Then we had our, where is it? Our witch. I know my list, I jumped a little, so I'm like trying to keep it up. Where do I go? But yeah, witch. Then we had Frankenstein. Then we had our skeleton. So skeleton or skeleton, those little A shapes. This is the sign for like shape, like an actual, like if you're talking about, well, the shape of it in shape. So good, just a little good one to know. Then we had monster. Then we had zombie. Zombie. Oh, good. Yeah, I did forget that one. Spider. Do you remember the one for bat? Do you remember? You might have actually been getting your water. Bat. Bat. Then we had our mummy. Oh, Meredith. Then we had, where's the other one? Ghost. Our ghost. Ghost. Then we had our black cat. And I think we had 2 more. Then we have 3 more. Whoops. Costumes. So Halloween clothes. Then we had haunted house. So scary house. And then our last one, party. Party. Yeah, Halloween party. Good, good, good. All righty. I think that's all. I'm double checking myself. I always feel like I'll forget one, especially when I change last minute. We did do broom. So witches, broom, like the sweep. Witch, broom. Then we have cauldron. So witches, cauldron. Yeah, the bubbles boiling. Oh, sorry, I get so excited. All right, are there any others that you guys can think of while I get them?
Me too.
You asked. Which one did you want to ask? Trick or treat, we definitely still
Trick or
need.
treat.
Okay. All right, sorry. I was trying to get the last minute of her barking done, but we're good. So trick or treat actually has a ton of different signs for it. Every time I ask someone, there's a different one each time. A lot of times what we do just to kind of make it easier is we'll just say candy. One I have seen is you actually make like the motion of like you're knocking on the door, like knock, 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 and you're holding the bag of candy out. So it's like knock, 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 candy. I've seen that one. Another one I saw was trick or treat. And so this is trick. It's 2 X's. And you're going to like put them on top of each other and slide one forward, the top one forward. Trick or treat. So trick or treat. I've seen that one. There's another one that comes in with the like a twist here, but I'm trying to think of it. I don't see that one as often. Most of the time I see trick or treat or trick or treat. I think everyone makes their own like little version of it. So I tend to just keep with the candy one. Because every time I try to get all fancy with it, the kids just kind of look at me and they're like, what? So every time I try a new one, I'm like, nope, okay. Candy. And they're like, oh, yes, yes, yes. And I'm like, okay, good. The sign for candle. The sign for candle is candle. You put your pointer finger at the bottom of your hand and you wiggle your fingers like a flame. Candle. Are there any others? I'm trying to think of some myself. So I know I'm gonna forget. I know there's still more. Ooh, spooky. Okay, so a lot of times what I'll do with spooky is I'll do scary, but then I'll go ooh with it. So scary. That kind of the wiggle the fingers forward. Yeah. Any others you guys can think of? I'm trying to think of as well. The more what's kind of hard with Halloween costumes is that they're not always so like not every like the characters people dress up as like princesses and all those, they're not always Halloween themed stuff. But since we only have one really group, do you guys know what y'all are gonna be for Halloween? Because I could if they are simple enough and not
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Okay. So that one you would fingerspell Peter Pan.
I'm gonna be a unicorn.
A unicorn. Okay, so that one does have a sign. And it's an R, twisted fingers, unicorn. Unicorn. And you want to make sure it's facing forward like it's an actual horn. There you go, unicorn. There, unicorn, yeah. I was like, I know, unicorns are so popular. Half of my girls say they're going to be unicorns for school. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're going to have a whole class of unicorns. So the sign for Scarecrow. What I tend to use for Scarecrow, because there isn't really a sign and you kind of have to fingerspell it, which isn't so much fun with a lot of younger kids. So I'll do scary and then I'll just stick my arms out like a scarecrow. So Scarecrow. And most of the time, people get it. If not, then that's when I go to the finger spelling. But my kids, oh, they understand it. But that could also be, we read The Wizard of Oz and they loved it. And so instead of finger spelling Scarecrow over and over again, I did Scarecrow. Any others you guys can think of? I'm trying to think. Let's see. Trying to. It's so hard. I think of so many Halloween things. But oh, the moon. That would be a good one. So the sign for moon is going to be an L, but you're going to bend it. So the sign for moon. And your finger's going to go forward, kind of like in a bend, like bending it. And you're going to start from your eye and you're going to go up. Moon. Moon. And it's basically because you're seeing it.
Ooh, I really like that sign. We've never done that sign before. I really like
You
that one.
haven't. I know, it's so pretty in my mind because I always think of, you got the L, but you also have like the crescent shape of the moon. So moon. If you were going to do full moon, you would do, I'm sorry, my throat. It's my voice. It's going. Full. So the sign for full. It's like you have a fist and it's like you're sliding your hand across it. Like it is completely, there's no space. Full moon. So full moon. That's when the wolfmen come. All righty. Let's see. I'm trying to think.
Here, ask.
What's the sign for owl?
Ooh, owl. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, so owl is owl. 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 I always think that one's so cute with the little O's. Owl. Any others? If they're not necessarily Halloween, that is okay. I think we're at that point now. Any other signs you're curious of?
Is monster.
She did show monster, Henry.
Monster. Are there any? Ooh, sorry, lightning. I saw it at the corner of my eye. We're getting it now, which is, I mean, we need the rain, so it's good. Trying to think of some other signs, but well, okay, here's what we can do is we can do the seasons, the 4 seasons. Summer, winter. I always start this weird every time I change it up. Fall, winter, summer, spring. Spring, summer. We can do those 4 because those are simple. And then I'll leave it kind of open if you guys have questions. And if not, I'll let you guys kind of decide if you wanted to do more or it was lightning. And they saw the light flashing in the window. And they're crazy about light. So, okay. Anyway, so the 4 seasons, we're going to start with fall because we're in fall, is going to be your non-dominant, like as your elbows up. Your dominant is in this V shape, and you're going to go fall, fall, fall. And so this is for fall. This is not for the sign of fall, or not for the word fall where I fell, I'm falling, or that is about to fall over. That's the different sign. This is for the actual hot like season, like it is fall right now. Fall. Then we have winter, and the sign for winter is winter. Cold winter. Ooh. Excuse me. Then we have summer. No, we have spring. Sorry. I want to go in order, but I did not put it in order on my list, and it's going to bother me. So the sign for spring is also the sign for grow. And it's going to be your dominant hand is going to be cupped inside your non-dominant, and you're going to grow. 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 So this is the sign for grow. This is the sign for spring. Spring. Then we have summer. So summer is summer. 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 Now this one can be confusing because we have black, summer, and there's also because. And then like forget is up here too. There's like so many different ones up here. It's very easy to forget. So the way to do it is black is always going to be straight across. It's not going to bend. Black. And then summer is going to be, I almost have it sideways. Summer. And then because like I have it where my fingers actually like touching my forehead because summer. All righty. Any others? There we go. Ooh, okay, candy corn. All righty. So a lot of words of candies like Snickers, Twix, all those you tend to finger spell, and candy corn is one of them. I mean, you could do candy and then corn. This is the motion for corn. But that one you might get some confusion because I could see someone going, you like have candy on your actual like corn on a cob, you know? But most of the time you can finger spell it. You can still do candy and then do corn. Oh, yeah, so that's a good question. So for months, when we didn't do this with time. Oh, I need to acknowledge this better. I'm sorry. When we do months and you're actually talking about the month of the year, what you do is not every month, it doesn't have a sign. So you finger spell, but you finger spell like the shorthand. So for example, October is OCT, October. For next month, it'd be November, NOV, December, DEC, JAN, FEB, MAR. April and May, June, July are all finger spelled all the way. April, May, June, July. They kind of come easier the more you practice it. And what's kind of cool with like certain signs, like certain words, like when you finger spell them, is it's almost like making a sign in itself. Like I do October. And it's not just me going, oh, C-T, it's October, you know? Another one that's kind of cool to do is like bus. And it's that circular motion. I mean, bus does have its own sign, but also like people will just finger spell it. So it's always kind of cool to see how you can actually almost make a sign with finger spelling. Yeah, so if you were going to do October 31st, you would do October 31. All righty. Any other questions or signs that you guys want to know? It can be really anything you're curious of. I try to very much leave this class to be, it is a no judgment zone. It is a giving you guys the space to ask any questions you'd be worried about. Could hurt someone's feelings. I can tell you if it wouldn't or would. So I feel like that's like the nicest. I would want that as a person if I'm learning something, is to have someone where I could be like, I want to ask this so if I know, so I can learn, is this actually rude to say or is it not? Especially with deaf culture. It's not very different, but there are slight differences. So, any questions? There we go. Okay, so if there's no questions, is there anything you want to like practice again, like focus on? Or so I saw lightning, I was waiting again to see if they're about to do it. Knowing them, they will interrupt me at some random spot. Or is there, we can go back and practice on a few signs that we've done in the past. Trying to think of what else we could do. We could do a few weather signs. We've not done that in the past. That's one. Or if, since we've gone through our signs for tonight, the thunder, we can end early, but I'm gonna leave it up to you. There's the 3 options. We can review, do weather signs, or just finish now, and because we won't be behind. I'm trying to think, what is next meeting's class gonna be? I think next week's is
Go ask her then.
What's the sign for lightning?
lightning. Oh, that's a good one. So I did use it earlier. I don't know if you've seen it. So what you do for lightning is you go lightning, lightning, and it's the zigzag. So, if you see it in the clouds, it's like, here's the top of the line of where the clouds are, and then zig, zig, zig for the lightning, lightning, woo. And some kids, if they see it, they'll go, ooh, like they'll make such a dramatic, like almost like a whip motion where it's lightning.
Oh,
Oh, now they want to know what thunder is too.
So, no, I mean, that works out well. I was sitting here, I was like, well, we don't do weather a lot, and it's happening now. So the sound for thunder is also the sound for sound. Oh, the sign for loud. And it's, you start like here and you go shaking it. Yeah. And it's almost like the motion of like, it is so loud. It's the floor is shaking. Thunder, thunder, because they can't hear thunder, but they can feel it. And so the vibration feels like it's shaking, thunder. So that's why they added that little thunder. That is also the sign for wow, like, ooh, that's loud. Ooh, loud. The sign for rain is rain, rain. If it's raining really hard and almost like diagonal, what people do is they'll go rain, rain, like it's very, very dramatic rain. Let's see, snow. So the sign for snow, I like snow. I think it's so cute. It's snow. It's like twinkle fingers, snow, snow, because they're just falling so gracefully to the ground. Snow. I know we don't get snow often here, but one or 2 days we do. I remember as a kid being that kid who was like, oh my gosh, is it gonna snow? Is it gonna? And even if it didn't, I was like, are we gonna stay in school though? So that was like, I remember that was like the biggest talk in like February was, is it gonna be a snow day? Let's see, what is some other, well, the sign for weather, like itself, the sign for weather is 2 W's, weather, weather. Like there, you have your like thumbs and pinky touch. So you make a 6 or a W. You're making 9s, Miss Katie. There you go. I was like, I don't think she sees it. I think she's so focused on what I'm doing, she doesn't realize she's not doing it. And then you're gonna have them touch, and then you're gonna go weather, weather, weather. And then, ooh, we're talking about all these storms, but we should talk about some happy things like sun. So the sign for sun is you're gonna start here with the O and shine. Sun. Sun. It's like you grabbing the ball of sun and the rays of sunshine coming on your face. Sun. This is also for sunny. Anything like with sun, the sun's out, it's sunny. Sun. Clouds are clouds. Clouds like balls, yeah, clouds. Trying to think of some other weather stuff. Are there any weathers that you guys can weather stuff that you guys can think of? Ooh, wind. Okay. Sorry. My dog was like coming to like sit next to me, but I don't think he realized he couldn't fit between the 2 chairs. It's a little small. Very, very big dog who thinks he's this big. So the sign, oh yeah, we did this definitely when I last year I read The Wizard of Oz with my class, and like I talked all about it because it was the first time like I'd really gotten a story that got through, like my kids loved it, so it's a big deal for me. So the sign for wind is wind, wind. So then the sign for tornado is tornado, tornado. Tornado. Yep. Tornado. let's see, what's some others? The sign for earthquake is still earthquake, like it's the motion, but also like the shaking adding with it. There might be a different one that's more used now. That's what I learned back in the past, but like we don't typically have a lot of earthquakes, so excuse me. It's not one that's used often. Let's see, where else is there? What else? I'm trying to use some other weather ones. The sign for like a storm is I typically spell storm. Or like, for example, thunderstorm, I'm going to do lightning because, you know, thunderstorms are connected with lightning a lot of the times. If it's like it's stormy outside, oh, well, I'll explain this just a little bit. I won't go in too much because I know it'll be just too much. But if you're using words like saying, you know, like it's stormy outside, that is where you would, instead of like finger spelling stormy, you would do the sign for like dark. And so you go dark. So it's dark outside. So a lot of times when we do stormy, it's because it's so dark outside. At least that's what I do. Let's see. What are some others? I'm trying to, let me look up. Not look up. Trying to look up a list of weather related, like a list of words so I can look at them because I'm trying to think of what else there is. Any other weather things you guys can think of? Let's see. We did tornado, we did that one. Oh, there we go. Hurricane. Okay, so hurricane. Now this one always gets me because hurricane and hotel are so similar. It's very easy to make mistakes. Yeah. That's kind of one of those ones that you really got to be careful what you're saying. So hurricane is you're going to have 2 H's with your thumbs and you're going to put your thumbs on top. So almost like, yeah. And then you go hurricane. You bend the H's. Oh, Meredith, it was the lightning. Miss Katie, you look so uncomfortable. Hurricane. Yeah, hurricane.
My brain cannot figure out which way your hands are going. Like, I'm like, are my hands doing the right thing?
Your hands are in the right
doing
position.
nines earlier.
So like, think about like how, you know, when we make the motion of like, we're taking a picture, you know, yeah, but with 2 H's and then your thumbs are going to touch and then yeah, because you're going to have one going forward, one going back. Yeah. Hurricane. Sign for hotel is hotel. But you see where you can easily get hurricane, hotel. I mean, it's so easy to do. It's so easy to mess with me. It messes with me all the time. And I always have to be very careful because I don't want to tell my kids, you know, we're reading a story or there's something involving either a hotel or a hurricane. I'm like, I cannot confuse this with my kids because this can very much change the whole story that we're doing. So, but alrighty, are there any signs you guys can think of or any questions you guys have?
Is wizard and witch the same?
Yes. Pretty much, yeah. Witch, wizard. I think there was a sign for wizard at some point. There it was not was. It doesn't end. I think there is also, it can be a sign for wizard. I most of the time just use witch because witches and wizards are very, well, I'm gonna get someone mad at me. I just know it. I tend to think they're very similar. And if it's like a big deal, like when I did the Wizard of Oz, what I would do is I do witch, but then I would finger spell wizard with it. And then I'd go of Oz. So that's just, you know, if it's a big deal. But if you're talking about like, oh, I'm dressing as a witch, or that could be a big deal. It just kind of, it depends. So a lot of times you can just finger spell it with witch, or you can just finger spell it in general. Wizard. Any other questions we have? I think it's raining, not too bad here, but it's heavy enough that I'm like, it distracts me. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that when it starts to rain, I'm like, The rain. Looks out every window every 5 seconds and just one of those people. Anyways, let's see. Trying to think of if there's one more. I feel like there's one more weather-related sign that I'm not thinking of, and it's gonna get to me one day. Tomorrow I'm gonna be like sitting there thinking, oh, I didn't show them this one. I'll be so mad at myself. So, rainbow. That's a good one. Okay. So the sign for rainbow is you're gonna have 4 fingers, and then you go rainbow. You can do rainbow. I tend to do rainbow. If I'm trying to talk about a big one, I'll do that. But, half the rainbows will come down. Rainbow. Rainbow. Yep. It's one of those ones where it's like, okay, well, we're thinking this is close enough, and it's like, yeah, no worries. Someone will figure out and know exactly what she's talking about. She'll do this, and they'll go, oh, you're talking about a rainbow. Got it. I mean, it's amazing how easily they can read signs that I might sign that's not right, but they know what one I'm talking about. I'm like, how did you know that? It was not the right sign. They're like, I just know. So, all righty. If there aren't any other questions, oh wait, are you typing? If you're typing, go ahead.
Or then
No, this one is cornered
go
to
ask
top.
her. You're on.
My question is, what's the sign for cape? Cape.
Sign for
Hey,
like a cake?
yeah.
Okay. I was like, am I hearing a P or a T? So, the sign for cape. I'm trying to think. I've not had to actually use that one. So I would think cape, like cape. Like you almost have the motion of a jacket, because this is a sign for jacket. It's like jacket, but I'd be like cape. Like I bring it inward. I will check on that just to double check, but I would think that's one of those ones like you would describe it. So you do like the cape motion. Let me see. If I can, let me put that. I'm putting it on my list so I can ask my coworkers tomorrow. What's the sign for this? What's the sign for that? So cape. It could also very well be you just finger spell it because it's such a short word. A lot of times, the shorter the word is, more likely it's not going to have a sign. But yeah. All righty. Any other questions, or think we're good? I mean, it is just y'all, so you literally have like the opportunity to ask any you had. I just feel like I've asked you guys like so many times. I'm like, okay, I'm done trying to pull from them. I'm gonna give them a break. So, all righty, we are finishing a little bit early. Next week we will not. Next week is food, and that is like a lot of people's. I'd like to say one of their favorites. There's so many different types of food. Fair warning, it will make you hungry. I always get like hungry, and by the end of it, I'm like, I'm starving, you guys. I gotta go eat. So if you're one of those people like me who gets hungry and can get hangry, I'd have a little snack before class next week. But anyways, all righty. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week and an awesome Halloween on Monday. Ooh. I wish it was not on a Monday. But anyways, I hope y'all have fun, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.